What's going on, boys? Some of you guys may have caught the streams the last few weeks. Been making Galaxy of Heroes content, and as I've been playing the game and just going through ships and things like that, especially those early fleet farms, I've been missing out on a lot of ships that I think are classic to Star Wars that we just don't have in the game. So today I want to talk about my 10 ships I'd like to see in Galaxy of Heroes. If you like the video and want to see more, let me know in the comments below. But without further ado, let's hop right in. The first one I think is an obvious one that almost everybody has on there once, which is Red 5. Red 5, for those that don't know, is Luke's X-Wing, and he is obviously one of the most iconic ships in the Star Wars franchise, outside of maybe like Millennium Falcon or Slave One, I think is Red 5. And yeah, we have Wedge and Biggs X-Wing, but we really got to have Luke's X-Wing. And so I would love to see this pop up. Not right now, honestly. With the meta the way it is, I think Profundity is plenty strong with the ships we do have. But if Profundity, or if we want to try to make it with specific synergy with Home 1, or specific synergies with Wedge and Biggs' X-Wings, I think could be really great, because Wedge and Biggs' X-Wings currently don't fit into the Profundity fleet as well as all the other Rebel ships. So even if this is a ship that kind of lifts Home 1 up into a better capital ship, I would love to see that, especially because that fleet is just really lacking ships, since all the Rebel ships are going to Profundity at the moment. As far as pilots go for Red 5, obviously we have Farm Boy Luke that's already in the game, but I would actually push for what I'm going to call Rogue Squadron Luke. And I think that this would be a really great addition to the game, because I think Rogue Squadron Luke could be either a Galactic Chase or legendary character of some sort, or even a Galactic Legend if you wanted to push it that far. We just got Endor Leia as a Galactic Legend. I don't see why Rogue Squadron Luke couldn't be a Galactic Legend. I think that'd be a great addition to the game. I really like the idea of putting specific synergies again with Wedge and Biggs. They don't really have a great place in the game at the moment, and I think adding them with a Rogue Squadron Luke could make a really fun synergy and a good team. Add in a couple other Rebel fighters, and I think you have a solid team there. Outside of Luke or Farm Boy Luke, I'd actually like to see even R2 possibly be added as a pilot on this ship as well. R2's classic with the X-Wing. He's always there. The only caveat I have is that R2's in a lot of ships, so maybe it's not great to include him, but I think it'd be cool to have R2 as a pilot. And if you're going to put R2 with any ship, I would argue that the Red 5 is the ship to put him with. Next, we're going to talk about the Rogue Shadow. Rogue Shadow is Starkiller's ship from the Force Unleashed games, and I think that it's a no-brainer. Since Starkiller has been added, I've wanted to see this ship in the game. The ship looks sick, and I think adding some Empire synergies and adding that with Chimera or Executrix would be a great addition to the game. I specifically want to see that counter for Profundity and Executor be better from the Empire side. I know it can work right now, but a lot of times you have to have certain ships with it, and I think adding in the Rogue Shadow as an additional ship within that team could be a really great addition to that team. And also, the ship's just sick, so even if it doesn't fit in that fleet and maybe goes with the Executor or even with the Leviathan, I love the ship. I love the design of it. I think it would be sick to add. As far as pilots go, obviously we have Starkiller, but I really want to see Proxy and Juno Eclipse both added to the game. I think both those characters would be great additions. I think both those characters would fit really well in the game. I really like the idea for Proxy of having some sort of like imitation with another character on the enemy team. I know that would be really probably hard to code for CG, but I think that could be a really cool mechanic. And I'll talk more about that in a future video that we have coming out about characters I want to see added to the game. But Juno Eclipse, you could give her, I think, the Imperial Trooper tag. I've always believed that TIE Fighter pilot should have the Imperial Trooper tag. I know he's technically a pilot, not a trooper, but I think we give it to him. And I think Juno Eclipse could add into that faction as well. I think that'd be sick. Next, we have the Punishing One, which is Dengar's ship. Now, I don't think Executor needs a buff as of right now, but with Leviathan coming out, it is better than Executor, I think, in most aspects other than how hard it is to farm. And so I think adding an additional bounty hunter ship when or if Executor starts to fall out of the meta could really help bring that team back if we ever get to the point where that fleet is struggling. you already have to gear Dengar for Executor, so adding a ship makes it so you don't even have to worry about gearing the pilot. You just have to go farm the ship, which does take forever, but I think it could help bring that fleet back from if it does fall out of the meta. Speaking of falling out of the meta, let's talk about Galactic Republic. Negotiator is not the same beast and titan of a ship that it used to be, and I think a great Marauder obviously has done a lot for that fleet, but I still think we could do more, and that's why I'm talking about the Naboo Royal Star Cruiser, or Starfighter. This is Padme's ship, obviously, featured in the prequels, and I think this ship makes sense. I think it would totally fit in a Galactic Republic fleet. It has a unique aesthetic. I think it does have fighting capabilities. I know we don't see a lot of that in the movies, but I still think it could work in the game. There are ships I feel like we've seen less of that are already in the game, so I don't see why we couldn't fit something in with this ship. As far as pilots go, obviously Padme would be one of the pilots, but I would actually push for C-3PO to be a secondary pilot on that ship. C-3PO and Padme is an iconic duo. You see them throughout the Clone Wars animated series, and even in the movies you see them together quite a bit, so I would love to see C-3PO as a pilot on that ship as well. I don't, unlike with R2, I don't see a lot of other places C-3PO would be pulled towards, so I think adding him here makes a lot of sense. Moving right along, let's talk about Mando's N1 Naboo Starfighter. This ship is sick. We saw it all in The Mandalorian, how fast this ship is, how cool this ship is. I would love to see this ship in the game. Now, I know you're probably asking, with this ship, what do we do about a pilot? Because we don't have a pilot to fly the ship right now. We can't use the Mandalorian, original Mandalorian that's in the game, because quite honestly, he should be with Razor Crest, not Beskar Armor Mando, because the original Mandalorian flew that ship way longer, but alas. But people have been asking for it forever, and I think it's just time to get Darksaber Mando in the game. Darksaber Mando would be either a galactic legend or some sort of legendary event. I'm not particularly swayed one way or another, but I think this would be a great addition to the game. I think he could really help with the light side Mandalorians that are currently struggling. I know Bo-Katan's going to help, but I think pairing Bo-Katan, the legendary Bo-Katan that's about to come out, with a galactic legend, Din Djarin, I think would be a better name than Darksaber Mando. I think just call him Din Djarin and have him be a galactic legend. I think that makes a lot of sense. I know people are going to argue, oh, he's not on the same level, but I think that as far as notoriety goes, so many people associate Mando with new Star Wars, especially young fans and fans that maybe gave up on the franchise after the sequels, really came back because of The Mandalorian and Din Djarin. So I definitely think he fits that notoriety. I think that works, and I think that having a galactic legend have a ship would actually be kind of cool too. Moving on to my next ship that I want in the game, we're talking about Count Dooku's Solar Sailor. Now, this ship you really only see like once in the movies. You see it a couple times in Clone Wars, but I think the Solar Sailor could fit really well. Talking about ships that are struggling, or fleets that are struggling, I think Separatists are in that for sure. Separatists are really struggling right now, and I think Count Dooku's Solar Sailor could really help bring that fleet back. Right now, Count Dooku doesn't really serve a purpose in the game at all, and so I think having him have a ship and at least be a pilot could be something to add to the game to help make him viable. I remember when the game first came out, Count Dooku was absurdly broken. The amount of stuns and counterattacks he got, it was such a pain to get around him when the game first came out. I'm talking before Gear 12 was even a thing. And I think that coming back to having him actually be worthwhile to farm will be really cool. And plus, Count Dooku is such an iconic character, and I think that having him in the game, having him relevant in the game again, would just be amazing to see. I'm hoping that with Darth Bane coming out and pairing with C, that we actually get to see him have some viability as a character, but why not also have him have viability as a pilot? Next, we're talking about the Mantis. If you've played Jedi Survivor or Jedi Fallen Order, then you know this ship. If you haven't, then you probably don't recognize this ship at all. But this is the ship that Cal Kestis flies along with his crew, and I think that this is a no-brainer to add to the game. You could give it the rebel tag, for sure. I don't know if you really want to consider Cal and his crew rebels. I mean, they do help the rebellion, but not to get into too much spoilers. I don't know if I would say they're directly a part of the rebellion. Cal is much more focused on Jedi activities and Jedi tasks, I think, than really the rebellion. But I definitely think it could fit. I wouldn't argue at all that or be upset if it got the rebel tag. That's kind of the only caveat is where does this ship fit in a fleet? I feel like Rebels is the best option. You could give it Jedi tags and synergies and maybe somehow include it into a Galactic Republic fleet. It doesn't really make sense all that much, honestly, but as far as like canonically, but heck, a lot of the stuff doesn't make sense canonically in this game. Heck, we're pairing Sith Eternal Emperor with Darth Bane, so whatever. I don't know where this ship fits exactly, but I would love to see it in the game. I love the iconic. This ship has such a great look and feel and style to it, and I don't think you can have this ship without having all of the pilots. And I'm not just talking about Seer. I'm not just talking about Cal. I'm not just talking about Marin. But I think you got to have Grease in the game too. Add Grease, give him a scoundrel tag, throw him in the game. I think he would be a great addition. I think that he could fit with Quill and Cara Dune and Dash Rendar and that squad. I think could be a great fit for him. Or there's plenty of other light side scoundrels that could use some help. Add Grease, make him a help to those teams. I don't see why not. Since Seer and Cal have already found their place in an UFU team, Marin is doing great in a Night Sister team. Get Grease in there. Make him a scoundrel. Get that team going. Next, I want to talk about Ahsoka's ship. It's a T6 Jedi shuttle from the Ahsoka show. This ship does a lot of stuff in the show, lots of spinny functions and stuff like that. I know a lot of people have gripes about the show in general, but I would like to see this ship in the game. Make Ahsoka Tano Fulcrum have a ship. I don't think we need a new Ahsoka. I don't think we need Ahsoka the White or whatever, or Ahsoka the Gray added. Definitely not Ahsoka the Gray to the game, but just make Ahsoka Tano Fulcrum have this ship and make her a pilot for it. Add it to a Rebel fleet. Add it to a Galactic Republic fleet, because this is a Galactic Republic ship that has just stayed around longer than that. So I think it works either way. Add that in. I think it would be phenomenal. For pilots, I want to see Ahsoka as a pilot, obviously, but also let's get Hu Yang in the game. I love Hu Yang's character. I love David Tennant's voice acting for him. I absolutely adore the character. I loved him when he was in the Clone Wars animated series. I loved him in Ahsoka. Honestly, maybe a hot take, but one of my favorite characters in Ahsoka, right behind Baylan and Shin. Hu Yang is such a great character, adds to the lore of Star Wars in such a unique way. I would love to see him added to the game. Give him synergies with Jedi. Give him synergies with other droids. I think light side droids could use him. I think obviously Jedis have a lot of characters already, but give him specific synergies with non-Jedi masters. I think would be cool. So anyone that's not considered a Jedi master. And I know that might be difficult to code and put into the game, but he's meant to train Jedi. I think that'd be such a cool synergy to have him work in a team that specifically emphasizes the Jedi that were in training still and that are in the game. I'm talking your Ezras, your Ahsokas, your even Jedi Knight Anakin. Add some synergies with him. I think that'd be awesome. But more on him in a future video on characters I want to see in the game. Next, we are talking about capital ships. I've got 2 capital ships I want to see added to the game that we definitely need more ships to flesh out, honestly. We don't have enough ships in the game right now to flesh out additional capital ships. And so before we add these capital ships, I would like to see more ships, more regular ships added to the game in the first place. But the capital ships I would like to see are, first, the Resolute. Not the one that's blown up. I'm talking about this Resolute. Anakin's starfighter from the Clone Wars. It's called the Resolute. It gets destroyed in an episode, and then he gets a new one. It's never officially named, but most people in the community call it the Resolute 2 or the Resolute Mark II. Whichever one, I'm not picky, but the biggest thing I want is I want gas to have a capital ship. It would make the grind for gas that much more worth it, because right now gas is amazing. Gas is such a great team, but it is difficult if you're not already committed towards that farm to justify going for it right now. And what I mean by that is a lot of the requirements for gas don't overlap as much as the requirements for Leia and Jabba and Jedi Master Luke and Profundity and Executor all overlay on top of each other in a way that really makes those 5 farms kind of really important to do. And I have a farming guide coming out where I'm talking about why those 5 farms are kind of the most important things to get. So gas is kind of left off in the corner with Lord Vader and maybe Jedi Master Kenobi, because you need some of those characters for that, but or kind of secondary characters for those farms that you would farm for other teams you can use there. But anyways, I just think that having gas have more viability as a capital ship pilot I don't think you get any complaints from the top tier and the high end of the game, but it would also, I think, in the mid game, give you a reason to actually pursue after gas. So that's my spiel on that. I would love to see the Resolute. I would love to see gas be a pilot in the game. Anakin Skywalker is probably my favorite character in Star Wars, so maybe I'm a little biased, but definitely want to see that. And last but not least, I've got another capital ship. This one's kind of obvious, I think, right now, but it's called the Invincible. This is Admiral Trench's ship, his capital ship. When Admiral Trench came out to the game, I think we all thought this was coming out soon after he came. It still hasn't come yet, but I'm sure we'll see it soon. But I think Separatists are one of those fleets that's really struggling right now. I know the Malevolence can work as a counter on offense, but on defense, it's just so easy to get through. Almost every fleet in the game can beat it now. It's not nearly as good as it was when it came out, and it was already worse than Negotiator when it came out. So, love to see the Invincible come out with Admiral Trench as a capital ship. But yeah, of course, Admiral Trench is going to be the one as the pilot for that. So, thank you guys so much for watching. If you agree with the list, let me know. If you have other ships that you think I missed, let me know below. Subscribe and like the video, and I've got more videos coming out soon. So, take care and peace, y'all.